Hello, my name's Troy from Bhutan Data Scientists, and in this video I'm going to be demonstrating the inventory management system, the open source software package that we primarily built for a construction company here in Bhutan. And I'll be demonstrating the role of the administrator so that we can go through all the features and all the functionalities relatively quickly. So the first step is to open up the web browser and enter the URL that the site is running, and you'll get this login page. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. At the admin level, we get to add new users and assign roles as well as projects to users. There's some demonstration roles in here right now, but I'll jump straight into the projects tab and quickly give us an overview of the BOQ section. So for BOQ view, you just click on this icon here, which will open up the new tab, which details the bill of quantities for a particular project. So if you want to add details such as materials required for mortar, you can come in here and select the particular that is required for the development section of mortars. And I'm going to, when you do choose mortars, there's an extra feature here which allows us to add mortar as a ratio of cement and sand, and the pre-calculations are done. If you enter the square meters, you get the option also to change the type of cement that's going to be used and specify whatever level of square meters are required. It will use that ratio and allow you to add the quantity accordingly. So we just add, looks like we need about 23,800 bags to do this amount of square meters of cement, and about 43,700 or 800,000 cubic feet of river sand. So now that that's been entered, we can see back in our BOQ view that we've got some cement and river sand added. And if we go back one more step, we can add a description to this work. This might be the first stage of rendering, and then that will be reflected back in the BOQ view. You can put description of works against the materials required. There's also the feature of assigning materials to floors. So we might select these two and assign them to floor number 1. And then we'll go ahead and add maybe a little less or so for floor number 2. So we just it will give you a note of whether it's assigned to the floor here. So right now the next section will be floor number 2, and that will also be viewable in this view down here. So these little headers here are called accordions. So at any time we see this kind of view, you can open or close the accordion. So here we've got the floor bill of quantities view open. We can see what's assigned to floor number 1 and what's assigned to floor number 2. So that's the quick overview of the BOQ section. I'm now going to jump into the finance section. So we click this button to open up the finance view. Again, we see the similar accordion views, and the first view that is default is the stock summary. This will show the bill of quantity amount for all the materials of this particular project, and the indented amount, opening stock, received stock and issued, and closing stock with closing stock rates and total amount. Let's get into some indenting. So we can see when we open this the previous indents that have been created. So to add a new one, we just click this button here. We can add a quick description for this indent for, let's say, for the construction of the phase 3 development. And whenever we see something with the blue underline, that means it's clickable and editable. So these are calendar date pickers that come up, and then on edit mode we have to save by clicking the tick. So we're going to create an indent here. Let's create some this particular indent for some cement. So we want another 2,000 bags of cement. We get a report down here, what the BOQ amount is and what the indented amount is. So that just jumped up by the 2,000. If we take that away, we can see that go back to 800. We'll put that in again. We're going to select the stock type again, and now that we've indented another 2,000 bags of cement, the indented quantity has increased. And let's go ahead and get some sand as well. Let's see what we want to. May as well keep 2,000. So we've just created a nice little indent with a note and an indent date and the expected delivery date. So let's go ahead to the next stage, which is purchase orders. So we can see our current indent is still pending and there's no purchase orders associated to it. So we go ahead here and we assign purchase orders to the indent. We're going to add a purchase order and then start adding particulars. So only the particulars that have been assigned to this indent will show in this list. And the system will also automatically remember the last time you chose cement, which supplier provided that, and also the quantity and the unit price. So we might keep those the same, or we might, if we want to change it, we can change it at any time. And choose a new client. Let's go ahead and choose the same client, and we will add, actually let's not add the purchase order yet, we'll add to the particular here we're going to add some river sand, and let's get that from, Troy Sadowski. Didn't know I was a supplier of river sand, but let's say we'll just get some river sand there. Actually, let's clean this up, it's getting a bit messy, so we'll remove this guy, and if we want to remove the purchase order, come back to this view and delete the whole purchase order like this. So delete that one too. And now we've got a nice clean indent with no purchase orders. We'll come back again and start creating new purchase orders. Add a particular. Let's go with cement. Again, the automatic selection of supplier is there. What I wanted to show was the capability of copying the purchase orders. So if we want another 4 copies of this cement purchase order, We just go ahead, put 4 there and copy. It will show the total POQ quantity and the total indent quantity and the balance quantity left. So let's keep that in the purchase order section right now. We'll add a new purchase order for sand. Purchase orders will be ordered by the most recent at the top. You can add particular, let's go with sand and see who can we get sand from. That was the environment. That's not in this system right now, but let's order 200 cubic feet at price of 12, and then we've got all our purchase orders created and ready for being received. So the next step in the process flow is over in the stock manager. So we'll go back to projects and click this for stock management, and again the first default view is the stock summary, and these are all set up on still the accordion buttons. If you want to search just for TMT, you can put in that search filter the text you're interested in, and it will find those items. Right now we're working with cement, so we've got 2 types of cement, PPC and OPC. Let's work with the PPC. We're going to mark that some of the purchase orders were received today. So we can see the ordered amount was 250, so let's say that 250 came in, and it automatically generates the GRN goods received. So on the same day, let's go over to stock management and say that we're going to issue some cement. So then we can filter down to the PPC cement and say we're going to issue. So we can see for this day, 15th, that we received 250. So we're going to go ahead and issue that 250 based on this PO, and we're going to write a remark for the first stage of phase 3. Then that then goes in with the GIN, so we can see the goods received note here, which is attached to the indent and purchase order. And if we put in something like invoice number, so now that we'll go back to the received log and update the invoice number 1, 2, 3, 4. We can look at our GRN and let's go to the GRN here. We can see the invoice number 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's